What is up, Los Angeles? Victory Sunday for the Rams, an early one. And you believe it. We were up so early. I could barely remember the first quarter, which was the most exciting game. So welcome all of you guys, early morning risers. Who was up early? Who caught the kickoff? I was still making coffee when the kickoff happened, but I had the game on my computer, so caught every snap of this big one. First and foremost, let me welcome my co-host, the great Aaron Coscarelli, back from Australia, back at it, back in the saddle.
Yeah. I mean, we're really good now, right? This was a fun game to say, okay, I think that's the Rams that we are expecting to see this season. And, you know, I had posted something on Twitter. You can hear me okay, right?
Yeah.
We're good? Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think the big storyline that you and I had always talked about this season was, can they consistently string together 4 quarters of good football? And, you know, I had tweeted something on X or whatever, Twitter, and I had said, isn't it interesting, because I'm always trying to connect the dots, like relatability-wise, how when we go through hard things, right, the Rams were faced without Puka. I mean, it wasn't like a devastating matchup in terms of this being a must-win necessarily game, but now it feels like all these teams are must-win games. And Sean McVay figures it out. When you're faced with adversity or a challenging situation, it's almost like a great opportunity for you to figure out who you really are. And, you know, I tweeted, I haven't had a chance to look over the box score just yet, the final one, but 10 different players had a catch. Obviously, 2 rookies got in on the action. You know, Terrence Ferguson, we were wondering when he would finally make his presence known, you know, as advertised. And I think what I had said too is after this next week, the Rams bye, this is going to be a scary team to have to contend with now that they've had an ability to see what they're made of without Puka or with Puka, right? So it was interesting how it got dialed up. How much of that do you think is just a Jags defense that just, you know, couldn't figure it out, and how much of this is like you're thinking that the Rams are finally finding their stride?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. You know, the adjustments that you were alluding to there, 10 receivers ties the most in the McVay era for the Rams, which is crazy, especially you think about all the great receivers that they've had. I think they targeted every available offensive weapon.
The water boy got a target today. Yeah.
Who's that?
I said the water boy even got targeted today.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that was great to see, and the over-reliance on Puka Nacua is something that I've been concerned about over the last 2 years, really, just because, you know, the way he plays, picking up hard yak yards. You know, he's not one of those receivers that just snags a ball by the sidelines and gets pushed out of bounds. He's, you know, getting wrestled down in the middle of the field regularly. So him getting hurt and being hurt is not a surprise. I mean, he was injury laden throughout his college career. So, you know, building in some other people that are, you know, quality pass catchers is important. And to Puka. Now I want to see him. I want to see him set records, and I want to see him. But this offense is at its best when the ball is being moved around a bit more and is a bit is less predictable. Predictability is death in the NFL. And in a way, it's like if you can find a way to slow him down, Puka Nacua, that is, you know, what does the rest of the offense look like? And it looked so fluid today. It was just like it looked like a McVay offense, and they scored over 30 points, which I told myself I'm not going to pick them to score more than 30 points. But this is the offense that we wanted to see. Now, did they get a ton of help from the Jaguars, both offense and defense in this game? Tons of penalties, costly penalties. You know, decent pass rush on their side, but no sacks. Or did they log any sacks? Anyway.
No interceptions. Yeah, five touchdowns from Stafford. And that's right. And that's kind of where I think you have to take a measured approach Let's not get crazy. But I think we can have fun with this, right? We can have fun with the idea of how much of this offense was so fluid and effective because they were unpredictable. How much of this offense is better when you have everybody involved? And I think that was the biggest question mark heading into the game when you would look at the stats and the success rate when Stafford would target his BFF. And what would this offense end up looking like when he's not in the lineup? So I think the question has to be, how much of this is the Jags, like you said, giving up the gifts of just penalties and turnovers, and how much of it was like, this is a really scary offense moving forward now that you're able to finally see that these rookies can stay, like that was the issue with Blake Corum last year. When is he going to get involved? Is it a trust thing? Is it a comfort thing? And I think with the fact that, this team is so young, building chemistry and gelling is so important. And, I talk about it every week. This young team, members of the offense didn't have Stafford during the entirety of training camp. So maybe this is what we're seeing. It's like finally after 7 weeks. Is my mic working? Sorry, it's yellow, which is an unusual color.
Oh.
It means caution in my world. So usually it's green. Anyways, let me know if you have any sound issues. But that's my thoughts on how I'm taking it all in, and then how I think moving forward what we might be seeing out of this Sean McVay offense. But I mean, he's got to be feeling so great going back home. There was a lot of talk about the jet lag, the decision to fly to London Friday night, as opposed to, I think the Jags got there Tuesday, and just kind of wanted them to get used to the time change. And Sean McVay decided, him and Reggie Scott made this interesting decision that they were just going to get there the day before and sort of not have to deal with the jet lag, which is interesting.
Yeah, not quite 24 hours, I heard, from touchdown to game time. So, a bold decision. Interesting one. I was kind of in the camp of get there, get settled in to your new place, and get kind of a feel for getting to the stadium and going through the walkthroughs and things like that. But didn't seem to have any effect on this game whatsoever. And maybe they're setting a new trend. Maybe more teams will try that approach going forward. But no problem there. So I thought the offense was a driving force. They took away the Rams offense was able to take away one of the hallmarks of this season's offense for the Jaguars, which has been the running game, because they put up 21 points and they just weren't able to. The Jags were not going to start running the ball at that point. Offensively, the Jags were able to move the ball, but it's interesting to me how some of the Rams problems became the Jags problems in this game. That some of the inconsistencies on third down and in the red zone, and when you're in the plus side of the field, the Jags just couldn't do anything. 3 for 15 on third down, a surprising 2 for 6 on fourth downs, and LA being equally as aggressive, 2 for 2 on fourth downs for them as well. Only 2 for 10 for the Rams on third down, but when you're not getting to third down, doesn't matter. So, but I bring this all up to say, what a job by the defense across the board for the Rams. Lots of pressure in this game, lots of guys on the defensive line playing really well. 4 pass breakups for Darius Williams. You could really feel Brenton Strange not in this game on the IR now. I think they're going to have a hard time, this Jacksonville team, mustering up more offense with the inconsistent receivers. Also gifting, just a bunch of drops as well. So
you have to wonder too, how must you be feeling if you're, the front office for the Jags at this point, 7 weeks in. I think it was Greg Rosenthal who actually tweeted this, and it was kind of an interesting take, just the fact that Should they have more chemistry, or the ability to gel? It just seemed like there wasn't. Maybe this is a question for. I had done a podcast with the Jags earlier in the week, and even Bucky Brooks, who said Liam Cohen is really trying to emulate the way Sean McVay affects and communicates with his players, and it just seemed like it's going to be a frustrating flight home to Jacksonville for Liam Cohen and company. But and that's, I think, to me, the most interesting part is how much of this was the Rams just sort of almost pitched a shutout. Their defense for the majority of the game, and how can this team build on it or learn from it? Because I want to say they have the Saints again. They have the Saints after the bye, and then I think they head up north. They go and play the Niners again on the road. So that'll be an interesting matchup, and it's like all of these. I mean, we'll have to take a look eventually what the rest of the NFC West is shaking out to look like, but. I don't know. How we feeling? Like, what is that? What are people saying? Have you had a chance to get any of their reaction? What do they think?
We have no comments so far.
Okay. Waiting.
So everybody's still waking up. I
probably
think.
Still asleep. Yeah.
Good viewership. We got a good turnout here so far today. Good. But speaking of which, this is going to be a really interesting NFC weekend. You got Falcons and the Niners playing tonight on NBC. At 5. Saints and Bears is going on right now. Are the Bears kind of turning it around? Have they found a pivot point in the season? They're 3-2. They're going to be in the conversation probably for that in the window wild card spot. Eagles and Vikings playing right now. I got that up on my big screen. Vikings probably won't put up much of a fight with Carson Wentz. We'll see how it all shakes out, but Eagles are looking good in that one. And then you got Packers and Cardinals.
Yeah.
I would guess that the Packers are probably going to take that one. Commanders 3-3 sitting here getting Jaden Daniels back. Then you got Bucks Lions on Monday night and Seahawks Texans as well. So, a lot of big games that have a lot of sway on what this playoff picture is going to look like for the Rams coming down to it.
And it doesn't seem like somebody's really run away with it in the NFC, right? Like, I mean, it just seems like everybody's sort of going through having an identity crisis, if you will.
Or injury crisis if you're talking about the Bucks and Niners.
Yeah, that's right. Which feels like an identity based on what the Niners had to go through last year too. So I digress. But I think it's going to be, this is like the best. It's like, Real Housewives of the NFL, or real husbands of the NFL, meaning, there's drama. This is the best time of the season because who is going to emerge and what are the storylines? And that's why, following the Rams each and every week, there's always something interesting unfolding. And somehow Sean McVay pulls a rabbit out of his hat and makes it work despite, coming, one of the things that Kurt Warner was saying often, I really enjoyed this broadcast between him and Rich Eisen. I used to work with them. Wonderful guys. And Kurt would say, I mean, at least a couple times I heard him say, this team should be 6-0. So, I mean, that just seems like the prevailing storyline, that while the Rams are, now 5-2, or at least 4-2 heading into the game, taking those 2 L's, this team should be playing to the level that we saw today, more effectively and more efficiently. And it'll be interesting to see what are we going to see in terms of identity from this team moving forward. Because like you said, the defensive line is impressive. You got some rookies there looking to eat. We didn't see Jarquez Hunter. Someone responded to me on X thinking like, hey, why couldn't we get him involved? But I mean, time will tell. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of my preseason predictions, that he was going to have a big impact on this team. Just because
Jarquez.
At training camp, he was so dynamic.
He
and
was.
A thumper. He loves the contact.
Yep.
And also, like in some of the pass blocking drills that I watched, just, a bigger body, a more aggressive guy. And I thought, man, this is just going to work out perfectly. But, we got the Terrence Ferguson show.
Yeah.
Got a touchdown for him and
T-Ferg.
field.
Yeah. Listen, we'll take it.
Absolutely.
We'll take it.
Tight ends. The tight end play and just targeting the tight ends in this game was fantastic. Obviously, Davante, huge game. Love seeing those 3 touchdowns for him. And we can't go too far without mentioning our guy Tamata here.
Oh yeah.
Rams and Dodgers.
Good LA weekend, yes.
Yeah, 3 home runs, 3 touchdowns for Davante, 3 home runs for Shohei. He looked so relieved to get those hits because he's been slumping hard, Shohei, unfortunately. And great time to bring up our friends, sponsors, all season long. Sleeper, if you haven't got it yet, I don't know what you guys are doing. Rams LAFB gets you $100 if you put $100 in. If you put $5 in, you get $5. What are you going to do with all that money in there? Well, you're going to use it for daily fantasy pick'em. Yes. Did you guys pick the Kyren Williams anytime touchdowns? Did anybody go? Well, I don't know what Davante's over-under was, but pretty sure he did it on the touchdown. Tyler Higbee. You can play any sport. NBA is coming back on Tuesday. NHL is already rolling. So lots of fun to be had there. And additional giveaway for new subscribers. You can actually stack these two. $20 entry if you're a new subscriber to Sleeper Fantasy. So they're just giving away lots of money, and you guys get to have fun with it. You can play with your friends. You can meet new friends. There's a social aspect to Sleeper as well. They're the fastest growing daily fantasy app out there. So get on the bandwagon now. Go have some fun. Again, code, one word, Rams, LAFB. Hey, if you Google that, you'll find us everywhere. So if you want more content from us, we got it out there. So definitely check that out. All right, let's give out some game balls. Who are the driving forces? Who deserve the crowns, the game balls in this game? This blowout victory, early morning London game. I like these. I like waking up early and watching sports. Going to a bar at 6 a.m. to watch a soccer game or an F1 race. It's fantastic.
Oh my God, I almost did it too. I research. A friend of mine was like, "Oh, are you going to go to that bar that they were promoting?" It was like a bar here in LA, and it was a London bar called Foxborough or something like that. And first of all, I was, I'm still jet lagged from Australia, so getting up at 6 a.m. was a challenge in and of itself. But I was like, I'll go for research. I agree with you. I think waking up Sunday, kicking your feet up, watching something good, and then, like you said, pulling off a W. So that this Rams team is now 5-2. I have 2 game balls. I'll go first. Krishula. He's just, to me, he is such a great, he's so humble when we interview him at media, and he's always up for the task. And I think very similarly to what Liam Cohen is trying to do in Jacksonville, it is so important for Sean McVay to impart on how can he rally these young guys up. And this defensive line is so hungry. They've done so well in terms of the draft, and then Chris Shula finding ways to be creative on defense. Trevor Lawrence looked like a rook. I mean, it just didn't seem like he had it. There were so many missed opportunities on offense that I think that defensive line is starting to really scare and emerge. And Chris Shula does not, in my opinion, get enough credit for being like the mastermind of figuring out how to tinker with the guys on defense. The secondary, I thought, did well. And then again, you just wonder how much of that is the Jags just seemed out of sorts. Maybe they were a little jet lagged, but definitely game ball 1 goes to Chris Shula for sure.
I absolutely love that one because I was going to give it to the defensive line across the board because so many guys played really well, and I wanted to bring up one specifically. Byron Young is having a heck of the year. A couple more sacks logged today, so that's really impressive. Already up there in the standings. I think he was second in the league. And the big question that keeps coming across my mind is who are they going to pay and who are they going to not pay for this defensive line? This is year 3 for Byron Young and Kobe Turner. Are they going to get a contract heading into their 4th season? Because you got to pay Puka Nacua. You're not gonna let him hit the open market, so they're going to pay him next year. And then you got Byron Young, Kobe Turner, same draft class. And then the year after that, it's Verse and Braden Fiske. And then you've got the contract for Quentin Lake already lingering out there. He's on his final year of his contract, playing really well, a little bit up and down, but making big plays. So that's a big question mark. My first game ball, I got to give it to the old man, Stafford, for slinging it around, moving the ball around. Having himself a fantastic game, 5 touchdown passes on a bad back, no less.
Isn't that the most in an international game? And then wasn't he the most previously before that?
It could be, yeah. There was a lot of records it sounded like set today. So, and usually these games are low scoring slogs of games, and this one should have been because given all the rain. But he was just nails this whole thing. Obviously targeting Davante Adams 8 times, five receptions for 3 touchdowns. That's amazing. And then like I said earlier, just getting those tight ends involved. From Terrence Ferguson, Colby Parkinson, and Tyler Higbee. Colby Parkinson, your leading receiver with 47 yards on 3 catches. So. Game ball to the old man, Matthew.
Yeah. And he was so efficient. I mean, how many passing yards did he end up having? You said 182 and 5 touchdowns in under 200 passing yards. The man was surgical. And honestly doesn't, in my opinion, I think he's getting paid per what Richard Sherman said. What did I see? I posted it. Let me just double check because it's pretty ridiculous. If it's true, which I believe it is, Richard Sherman wrote the fact that he is getting $11 million. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is making almost $11 million per year than Matthew Stafford. So he's also getting, my second game ball, which now I'm going to say even more so, was going to be to Les Snead. Because today we saw the tight ends get involved. We've seen the impact of Nate Landman this entire season. And they find ways to keep it I love that you just mentioned the cap. They're going to have to figure out how to be surgical with the following year. But the fact that Stafford is getting paid almost $11 million less than Trevor Lawrence, future Hall of Famer, and you get a guy like Davante Adams. To me, Les Snead is arguably the best GM. I mean, to me, the coach and the GM tandem in McVay and Les Snead, they're doing it. They're doing something right, and we saw it on display here in London today. So,
yeah, it's the surgicalness is going to be so interesting in the coming years.
Well, and also, I think the thing with Stafford, just to touch on that, it's like he's so durable. I'm not sure he's feeling 100%, with this aggravated disc, but you're not seeing a single dip in performance. Yeah,
no. Yeah, definitely not. He and Baker Mayfield are probably topping the odds right now for MVP, you got to imagine.
He's so great if he got it this year. Yeah.
Wouldn't it, having
totally.
a career year, wrapping it up? That's the perfect way to go out as a quarterback. Now I'm saying that as if he's going to retire after this season. I have no idea. Another interesting thing it's too early to talk about it. We've got a lot of time left. And I was going to bring it up earlier when you were talking about how they can go on this run right now. They've set themselves up, and interesting. Over the last 2 seasons, slow starts, bye week, and then take off. This time they're heading into a bye week, really finding their stride.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. So
yeah, like last year, right? You're referring to last year. If you don't remember, guys, what they were 1-4 heading into, was it a week 6?
It's a week 6
bye. And then I think either before, and then they had the Vikings, and it was like a Thursday night matchup, and then that was kind of when the spark went off. And you're absolutely right. Heading into this year's bye, although this one's a little bit later than the one last season, they're different. They're in a different position. They're 5-2 heading into the bye, coming off a great win, and some portion of their next few games are easier-ish. Right, with the Saints and then the Niners. You know, I mean, the Niners are always a challenge, but they're banged up. So again, if we decide we want to make a guy look like Joe Montana, then that's their problem. But you know, I think of course the Niners always play them hard. But then what's the next stretch of their schedule? Because they have
Seahawks, Bucks, Panthers.
Okay.
And then Cardinals. That's kind of I mean, that's an interesting stretch. I mean, I don't know what the Cardinals are right now. I think the Panthers seem to be finding some stride. They're 500 right now, as of right now. And then the Bucks, you know, but the Bucks and the Seahawks and the Rams are the top 3 teams in the NFC, and they play each other back-to-back weeks. So,
and I think is Kyler Murray. I think he's out today, right?
He is out again, and Jacoby.
He's expected to not play. So
had himself a good game. My second game ball, sticking to on the field, since you went front office brass type stuff, which I love, is I'm gonna go with Darius Williams, showing that there's some juice in this. There's some life in the secondary that everybody's doubted, including myself, and for good reason. But they lived up to a good task. A lot of receivers to cover in this game, and they did a really great job, especially Darius Williams with a bunch of breakups, saving a couple of touchdowns. So absolutely. Game ball to Darius Williams. Great to see. I still think they should make a move for a cornerback. I still think they need somebody that can play man coverage. That was something that really cost them in the 49ers game, not being able to body up on those. They have a lot of good guys that can beat zone coverage, but not man coverage. So those are the game balls for us, brought to you by us, I guess. What are your thoughts on the O-line right now? I've been a bit critical. I've got some question marks hanging over some guys. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I think injuries have been a big part of what was also the same theme for last year. Avila not been around, wanting to be careful with bringing him back. And then they've just tried to test out sort of different iterations. Bo Limmer, I think. Look, I mean, the offensive line has to be so important to the effectiveness of this offense. The obvious in protecting Stafford, but also the run game hasn't been as effective as we feel like it should be when it comes to controlling the tempo or the momentum, and that seems like that had gotten away from the Rams in those 2 losses. I would say they're finding their stride now, and in keeping with everybody being sort of healthy, something to build on. But I think the offensive line, it is so important to be able to have cohesion and chemistry, especially, as the Rams are going down the stretch, making sure you have your run game effective. And, I mean, it's been a storyline because some guys have been out, but in my opinion, I think they've stepped up in ways where those injuries haven't hurt them as much as they could. So I think in keeping with the fact that there have been some injuries, they're doing okay considering.
Yeah. No, it's a really great point. The run game was one of my hot topics for this game. Who is going to be able to get it going? And it ended up not mattering. And it kind of reminded me of 2021 when they won the Super Bowl without a running game whatsoever, where they were just able to move the ball through the air so effectively and so explosively. And on both accounts, success rate, EPA per play, they just were unstoppable. And that's what they felt like in this game. But neither of the running games really were a factor in this game. And it's still something I have a big question on, both offensively and defensively. So Kyren Williams ended up having 4.5 yards per carry, which has been great for him this season. Blake Corum with 12 carries, so they just split that right down the middle. Both guys had 12 carries. 3.1 yards for him though. 3.1 yards period across the board for the team in general. So offensively, I still have those questions for the running game. And then on the other side of the ball, this was supposed to be a test. I wanted to see if they could stop a offense that would run the ball continuously, but they couldn't. The Rams took that option off the table for the Jags. So I'm still curious about it. They were able to stop Saquon. They were able to slow down Christian McCaffrey a bit. That game gets a little bit overshadowed because Christian McCaffrey started switching the ball out of the backfield.
Hey, dog sitting. Sorry, there's a bevy of mini dogs around here. Yeah, no, it's interesting, and I think that's a great question. Whoever ended up asking, stand by. Missy, get over here. I'm so sorry. I knew I should have put them in the bedroom because they get a little wild. They're excited about this Rams offense as well. Oh my God. Hey guys. But I think whoever asked that was a really good question, because I think it's a point that doesn't get brought up enough, and I think it's going to be so important. Like you said, when discussing, we didn't need it necessarily today, but like in 2021, do you need a super effective run game to, stay up and up with teams like the Eagles, the Lions, who have pretty threatening run game, for sure. So, I think it's something to keep an eye on and watch. Oh yeah, there you go, McClendon. Yeah.
McClendon has allowed 6 pressures over 3 games, 2 in this game, 0 last week, and 4 against the Niners. It's an interesting question because Rob Havenstein obviously not staying healthy. Not Justin Diedich, Bo Limmer was inactive for this game. And then also Justin Diedich coming in for Steve Avila last couple of games was interesting, to say the least, to kind of wrap up the offensive line. The depth is concerning, and on the there was one point after attempt that they got some penetration. Yeah, thought maybe it was going to get blocked, but did you notice? I don't think I saw any of those weird knuckleball squib kicks from Cardi.
Yeah, and that's another great point. Was is the special teams? Thank God, wasn't an issue. Whew.
I mean, it was close.
Yeah.
Couple of returns.
Yeah, but was that you that I was speaking with about the fact that he had these knuckleballs and that was impacting potentially the way how he was just not as accurate or dialed in when he was trying to, kick him through the uprights. So, not an issue this week. Thank goodness. And hopefully moving forward, but pass protection and special teams, that line really matters. Yeah,
100%. And, on our preview show, Brittany was on and she was just talking about how important it is, scoring points, even if it is on special teams. It's very, very important. You got to win. You got to score more points than your opponent. And that's one way you can do it. But going for it on 4th down a couple of times, I don't mind that. Scoring touchdowns on those attempts, even better. I love that. This is a great way to end it. David Roska, my Rams, my Rams, my Rams, my country for some Rams, because this was the Rams team. This was the Rams team that we wanted to see, and it was really refreshing to see them be able to look so cohesive and put together on offense. So any final thoughts heading into a bye week? Do you have any thoughts on the NFC in general, or any of the rest of these games, or any final thoughts on this game itself?
Yeah. I mean, I had Bucky Brooks, who Bucky. He's a former. He's great. I love how he, analyzes players, coaches, the team as a whole. And I think the big thing that I take away from what this team represents and potentially moving forward is when you are in a situation that offers an opportunity to look at something differently or a challenge, it does seem like the Rams have the whole adversity resilience thing down, which was what they really had to navigate last year. So I think we're starting to see Rams 2.0. And, you know, again, I always say pump the brakes because it's a Jags team that seem to not necessarily have it all dialed in.
Yeah.
But I think this is definitely something to build on. And I'm looking forward to seeing that now how we've learned how this offense can operate without Puka. I just want to be able to see, as you mentioned earlier in the show, and a very good point that you made, how can we see what we saw today with a Puka also in the lineup? How will that offense look like moving forward? With all these now 10 different players with a reception, are we able to effectively bring Puka in the mix and this still have fluidity, like you said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, they just got to put it all together. And I think that, defensively, this game, I mean, it just looks great on both sides. They got to put together that third element of the special teams. We're not gonna. This is a great point by Mike A here. He looked solid today. Cardi did. Almost single-handedly outscored the Jags today. Gotta love that.
Yeah, very good point, Mike.
But yeah, all the facets are coming together. I think it's a great time to be doing this. They really have a chance to cement themselves as the class of the NFC.
Where do you think they belong now? Top three?
Top
Because
three.
In Bucky's, this isn't necessarily the NFC, but the Rams weren't even in the top 10 a week ago. So
yeah, which is that's crazy to say. I mean, I got my eye on the Bucks and the Seahawks heading into this week, and Lions too. It seems like they're starting to find their stride as well. The big question: are they going to add a defender? There's Trey Hendrickson talk. I would think it would be criminal if the 49ers didn't add a defender after losing both Bosa and Fred Warner. So keep an eye on that. But we're heading into the Saints game that has just ahead of the trade deadline. So it'll be interesting to see the next week, 2 weeks, how everything moves. But I think right now, top three easily, with right in there with the Bucks and the Seahawks. Packers, we'll see what, it's just such an interesting year because there's just a blob at the top and nobody has really proved that they're, taking the mantle, as opposed to the NFC where it's just like the top is rising and the rest is dropping. I think probably 6 of the 7 teams at the top of the draft order right now are all in the NFC or AFC. So yeah, it's good. It's still a fun year. Saints outlook. I got to dig into the Saints a little bit because they seem to be finding something with Spencer Rattler. Got a couple of great receivers. There's some talk about Rashid Rice getting moved. So yeah, it's a lot of talk about Alvin Kamara getting moved as well. Do you think the Rams are going to get in on any action before the trade deadline? I mean, they got to find somebody that can play man coverage. So whether that's a big move for like a Sauce Gardner, use the first round pick, something like that. Gets a little hairy when you want to talk about quarterback in that. If you want to draft a quarterback this year, I don't know. Or just get kind of like because
they have to draft. The Rams have to draft a quarterback this year.
Do they?
I mean, let's get somebody in the building to at least learn from Stafford at this point.
Yeah.
But no, the man is like aging like a fine wine. Whatever his like anti-aging regimen is, please give it to me because I'm, as you can see, still dealing with adult acne at my age. You'd think I'd grow past this child phase. You look great. And by the way, awesome shirt. Love your shirt.
Yeah.
Shirt game on point. By the way, you do rock a good dude shirt every time we do this. Oh my god, this dog is driving me nuts. You do. You have like the casual, cool vibes. Working rye. I dig it.
No shave too.
No shave look.
We've gone too long already, but appreciate.
Have we? Yep, 40 minutes. Oh, that's.
I appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for tuning in. My week. So we'll have some. We're gonna have some trade deadline talk this week, just because fill some space. But who can they trade? Are they looking to move anybody? Are they looking to add anybody? Who are the contenders out there? So keep an eye out for those episodes for sure. But until next time, we will see you guys then. Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends to do the same. Appreciate you guys. We will see you soon.